What is up? This is Jack McNeil. Hope you guys are having a great day and enjoy this postseason edition baseball. And we talk 1, 2, 3. Now, going into this series, the Cardinals and Giants, it was a feisty series, starting with Game 2 when Holiday did the hard slide against Marco Scutaro. It was a nerve-wracking series. I think all fans on both sides can agree to that. And it was a very exciting series. The Cardinals won Game 1. The Giants won Game 2. The Cardinals won Game 3, Game 4. The Giants won Game 5, Game 6. And it came down to Game 7. When the Cardinals were up 3-1, I had a very good feeling that we would win this series. I didn't know when. I was hoping to finish it in Game 5. As you know, I'm probably a Cardinal fan, so I'll try to not make this from a biased perspective. But it was very disappointing to see the Cardinals lose. I mean, obviously, you want them to make it to the World Series. After last year, I still felt like I was almost in a dream. It was so surreal that the Cardinals were almost back to the World Series again, and it almost seemed unrealistic. I was almost expecting something to happen here. And once I started seeing the Giants just completely dominate us, you start to get a little worried. But with a team like the Cardinals that come back, literally named the comeback Cardinals, you never know what can happen. And going into Game 7, I had hopes that they would finish it off. I think they would upset the fans in San Francisco. They would upset some of the media because, you know, it would be a great story for the Giants. But you look at the stats of teams that win after losing Game 5 and Game 6, it's not good. And the fact that the Giants were on, you know, they were at home. They have Matt Cain pitching, the guy who closed out this huge comeback victory for the Giants after being down 2-0 to the Reds. So there's a lot of stats that I tried to ignore as a Cardinal fan. But at the end of the day, the Giants played a hell of a series. They played 100%. I mean, literally, they did nothing wrong the last 3 games of the series. Yes, they missed opportunities in some of the earlier games. We had very good games. Our pitching was solid the first few games. Adam Wainwright had a great game. Our relief pitching was great. And when I mean I mean the Cardinals. I'm sorry for not specifying. But the Giants did everything perfect the last 3 games. They had their little shot to come back and make this thing a series, and they took it. And they took it to the next level. Marco Scutaro, a guy who was hit by Holiday with the hard slide. I think both guys handled it very, very classy, I would say. He came up and hit 500 through the series, and it was not him who missed a game. It was Matt Holiday who missed a game of back soreness. I mean, it's just a crazy series when you think about it for the Cardinals, and even crazier for the Giants. They come into the series with tremendous momentum, being down 2-0 to the Reds and coming back and winning the first time anyone's ever done that on the road. The Cardinals have momentum, but in a different way. They came back in the last inning. And David Freese said something that I thought was very interesting. He said, "I don't believe in momentum on a day-overnight basis. I believe in it inning by inning, play by play." And I think that's very true with baseball. Yes, there's momentum going into a series. When you have 2 very good teams in the Giants and Cardinals, it really just matters what they do inning by inning, pitch by pitch. And Game 7 was one of those games where each pitch matters. And the fact that we could not, again, the Cardinals could not get something going in the second inning when Kyle Lohse hit that blooper. Brandon Crawford made a great play on it, hopped up right at the right time to snag the ball. That was a big play. That would have saved 2 runs. The Cardinals would have been up 2-1. But the biggest play of the game was when Hunter Pence got that 3-run double. Now, Hunter Pence has not had the greatest postseason. I'll say that. Not at all. And he's actually moved down spots in the order. Marco Scutaro and Pablo Sandoval have had fantastic playoffs. But Hunter Pence comes up to bat with the bases loaded, and he hits a grounder. It literally hits his bat 3 times, something I don't think anyone has ever seen. When you look at it in very slow motion, it hits it 3 times. Because of that, Cosmo does not get a good eye on it. I don't know if the runner was in his way at all, but he went the wrong way on the ball, and he tried to get back, nowhere close. So the ball goes in the gap, and John Jay literally just misses the ball when he was trying to pick it up. So it allows another run. Right when that happened, I realized something. Wow, we are probably going to lose this game. Our defense looks terrible. We look lazy. We do not look like we want to win this game. And I don't necessarily think it was that we didn't want to win. I think it was mostly just because the Giants had so much heart, so much soul, and so much drive to make this a magical comeback. They are the comeback kids. They're the comeback kids. The Cardinals are the comeback cards. And you mix those 2 together, you don't know what you're going to get. But you are definitely for sure going to get a Game 7. I'll tell you that. With a series like this, it's almost bound to go to 6 or 7 games, and it did. The Cardinals had their chances to put the nail in the coffin. They didn't get it done. They scored 1 run over the last 3 games. And I'm talking as a Cardinal fan saying we should have scored more. You got to look at it from a Giants perspective and just an overall baseball perspective and realize how good of a job this Giants team did pitching-wise. This Cardinals offense was one of the best in the majors, and to be able to go out there, Barry Zito, Ryan Vogelsong, in my opinion, could have been the MVP of the series. The 2 games he pitched, he shut the Cardinals down. Obviously, I think Marco Scutaro edged him out for the MVP. Defensively, offensively, he led this team. Every time he was up, he made contact almost. He hit 500 in the series. He had a lot of RBIs, a lot of hits. He was a table setter for guys like Pablo Sandoval. And honestly, a few years ago, this Giants lineup, they barely had anyone that was, were scared, were scary hitters. They had Benji Molina, and that's pretty much it. And now it's the exact opposite. They have one of the most frightening offenses, in my opinion, in the National League because it is very deep. Down the line, if you have Marco Scutaro and you have Hunter Pence, you have Pablo Sandoval, and Brandon Belt is getting better, this is a very good lineup. Obviously, I'd prefer the Cardinals lineup over the Giants, but in certain situations, the Giants just play better. They hit better than the Cardinals. They scored a bunch of runs. The Cardinals starting pitching was not good the last few games. Lance Lynn had that big inning that hurt him. Lowe should not pitch very well. Chris Carpenter had a big inning that hurt him, and he did not pitch very well. It was really everything that went right for the Cardinals last year was going right until the last 3 games of this series, and I almost don't even know how to describe it as a Cardinal perspective. It was just a free fall, and I hope it never happens again, and I think the Cardinals will be very good next year. But the Giants, to make this comeback, is historic, and I do feel good for them in a way. Again, it's very hard to feel good for them as a Cardinal fan. I was a little disappointed that the fans booed, again, the Cardinals after that. But Marco Scutaro, he's going to his first World Series. I feel bad for Carlos Beltran because he's over 3 now in Game 7s to get to the World Series. He has not been there. We'll see what happens next year. The Cardinals, I think we can all agree they have great young pitching. They have a bright future. But the Giants, this could be their year. I do think that the Tigers will win this World Series, though, in 6 or 7 games. It will be a very close series, though. I think, obviously, it's hard not to pick the Tigers. They go in with tremendous momentum. But again, in 06, the Tigers swept the Oakland A's. A different year, I realize that. Verlander was a Rookie of the Year back then, and now he's the best pitcher on the planet. So it's hard to compare the teams. And this is a very different Tigers team. I think they're built to win. They put a lot of money in this. Their owner is like 89 years old. He wants so badly to see this team win. They want to win it for him. Miguel Cabrera, it's only fitting you have a Triple Crown candidate versus someone in Matt Cain who pitched a perfect game. You have the former Cy Young and MVP against the All-Star starter in Matt Cain. You have, historic players on both sides of the teams, and it's really just going to be a clash. It's like Clash of the Titans, but for baseball. You have the 2010 defending world champions, San Francisco Giants, for 2010, and you have the Tigers, who really put together the best postseason play this year, dominating starting pitching, and really just power offense. So we'll see what happens. Here's going to be an interesting series. My prediction is Detroit in 6 or 7, but again, anything can happen with San Francisco. So again, I'm sorry if I mentioned the Cardinals too many times. It was hard to make this video about the Giants and Cardinals series and not talk about the Cardinals, but this is about the Giants winning the NLCS. I want to congratulate them on their great season, historic season. No matter what happens in the World Series, it was a great year for the Giants getting to the World Series, winning the NL pennant. Congratulations to them, all the players, and Marco Scutaro for winning MVP of the series.